What's up, YouTube? I just lost another eyebrow piercing. I think that's my last one. Oh, nope, I found it. Let me put it somewhere safe. So, how you guys doing? I know I haven't done a video in a while. Things have been really crazy over here. I got sick this week again. Um, I had my girl with me, staying with me for a while because of personal issues. So, I've been trying to get everything settled and back to like a normal way so I can start recording more. So I think we're finally back at a normal point ish, so I can start recording again a little bit more frequently for you guys. I missed recording, and not to mention, I really haven't been reporting on like Raw and SmackDown and only doing pay-per-views recently, is because the brands themselves have been lackluster. The shows have been so dull. Like normally Raw is always bad and you're used to it, so you just watch to see what's going to happen. SmackDown is normally decent most of the time, but now NXT is always at least consistent, especially when they're on the road. Like after their big like takeover event, sometimes it slows down like a week or two and they reset and things like that. But it's always something interesting going on. But when we look at what's going on Raw and SmackDown, my biggest problem is their undercard and mid card really isn't there, and I really want to focus on the women's division and the tag team division, because with those two divisions being split, I think, especially when it comes to the tag teams, they are really suffering. So right now, if I made the layout the way I wanted to, you should be seeing like Wikipedia, so we can go through all of the Raw women and the SmackDown women. They were just saying they were the tag team division. So on Raw, currently that are active wrestlers that we see on a weekly or semi-weekly basis wrestling. So we have Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox a little bit, Bayley, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks. Now look at everybody that's missing right there. Nia Jax, I think I mentioned her, but she's not always on TV. Emma's in flux. Dana Brooke shows up every now and then. Alicia Fox is mostly on 205 Live, and even says it right here, valet to Noam Dar. What? Paige is in flux. And who knows what's going on with Summer Rae. And then we go to the SmackDown women, scroll down, and they pretty much use all their women that's there. Eva Marie is inactive. Who knows what's going on with her? I think she's actually leaving the company. And you have Nikki Bella, who's off recovering and doing all that stuff. And Tamina just came back. So, and Lana's finally debuting, but how good is she going to be in the ring? We're going to find out at God damn, that's a nice picture. We're going to find out at Money in the Bank. So my thing with the women right now is, especially on SmackDown when they're doing this Money in the Bank match, they're trying to use their women so you don't like, oh, where's this person, where's that person? They at least show up every week. But the problem with that is they're always in the same match. Literally, it's always some type of 6-woman tag, or some type of fatal 5-way, or 6-pack challenge, and it's always the same 5 or 6 women, and that gets old and repetitive, and we're tired of seeing that. So imagine on SmackDown if both rosters were together. You have let's count all the active people. You have Alexa Bliss active, Alicia Fox, Bayley. You kind of say Dana Brooks. So it's about, let's say all together, there's about 12 women all together. That's enough to cycle every week and have fresh storylines and fresh things going on. And when it comes to Money in the Bank, you could have had qualifying women matches. You didn't, like, if you want to do 5 slots, you have 10, that's 5 matches apiece, and they all can qualify. And then you'll still have a couple of women left over to challenge for the main title if Naomi's champion right now. So you can have a legit championship match, not Lana versus Naomi in some type of filler. And I would not be surprised if Lana actually won by some kind of fluke and then somebody cashed in the same night, whoever wins that match. But you could have like a legit. You could have maybe Charlotte versus Naomi for the title, and then you can have maybe Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Natalia, Carmilla, and somebody else. Either throw in whoever else you want in that match. Mickie James. You can have those 6 in the women's Money in the Bank match, and you'd be like, okay, you have a legit title match, and you have a legit number 1 contenders briefcase match to follow that. So once whoever comes out of that title match comes out, you have a legit number 1 contender because they actually earned it by going through qualifying matches and having to win the match. So even if they cash in the same night or do something sneaky, if the heel wins or yada yada yada, somebody turns heel, they'll have a legit reason, or you have like legit storylines, and I beat this person, then I beat this, and then I won this match, then I won the briefcase, and now I'm here. So, and then you can have like Naomi keep beating all these people and building up her reputation, because as good as Naomi is, I think she still needs a little bit more to be where on a higher pedestal, because I love Naomi, but I think if she had more legitimate contenders like Sasha Banks on SmackDown, or Mickie James back on SmackDown, or Bayley and things like that, it'll be a better situation for the women's division. And I can say the same thing for the tag team division. Let's see if they even like have the tag team division together. Whoa. What is all of this? NXT, yada yada yada. So let's try to look at the tag teams. So you got the Usos. Let's see if I can remember. If I can just if they're all the tag teams on one brand that were active right now. Enzo and Cass, the Usos, the Breezango, the Colognes. It just gets hard. The Ascension. That's 5. The Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro. That's 7 teams. That's literally 7 teams. That's enough to get you by on one brand. But like I said, that's spread out between 2. So, and the Revival when they come back. So 8. And the Hardys are probably going to be breaking up soon. And it looks like Enzo and Cass might be breaking up pretty soon too. And it's just the same thing that I was saying. Like, Hardys versus Sheamus and Cesaro. It's getting pretty still. And we're getting it again at Great Ball of Fire. And it would be different if the Hardys were in the process of becoming broken, but we don't even know where that whole gimmick and storyline or situation is going, because we haven't heard anything about that for a few weeks. Rebby has been off Twitter because she just had her baby, and I believe the baby's name is like Wolfgang Hardy, Little Wolfie, and I was like, what? Like, I didn't get it at first. I thought it was like Wolfgang X Hardys, so I thought it was Wolfgang and the Hardys like doing some type of special match somewhere on the house show or something like that, versus, I don't know, some team, Sheamus, Cesaro, and maybe Pete Dunne or something like. That sounds fun. But you get what I'm saying. But no, that's the baby's name. It was like Wolfie. So I'm like, okay. Anyways, off topic. But if we had all of those tag teams on one brand, everything would be a little bit better. So you will have different dynamics. We can see maybe the Colognes rise up the ranks. I just picked a random tag team. Or Breezango. We watched Breezango go through all these tag teams working their way up to the top, instead of them only having to beat the Ascension once and then just keep beating the Ascension and maybe beat Jay and Jimmy in singles matches. Like, how many times have we seen Sheamus and Cesaro in that same vein as Sheamus Cesaro versus the Hardys, in the same vein as we've seen Breezango and the Usos going back and forth for these same couple of months? Just imagine if those 4 teams were interacting for the same tag team titles. That way every month Sheamus and Cesaro, whoever's the champion, can have different number one contenders, and the same thing with the women's division. But since they're on different brands, we're suffering because we're tired of seeing the same thing over and over again, and that's pretty much my point right now. And I think once the brand split actually happened, people was like, no, there's enough talent there to split the divisions. Yes, if you were going to keep adding on to the divisions, and they have not added on to the divisions yet, you would think they would start doing the tag team tournament, the Dusty Rhodes Classic, in the same vein as they do the Cruiserweight Classic, and now this women's tournament that's coming up, by bringing in different talent from around the world to have them rise up the ranks, go through NXT, and then you can bring those tag teams on NXT, which there aren't any down there either. You have Heavy Machinery, DIY just broke up, and you have Authors of Pain, who are your tag team champions. You have Tito Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. They're down there, and maybe a few more, maybe like one or two more that I'm not thinking about right now. But if you do start bringing in more talent, you can start calling up more talent that we're already used to. Oh, and the New Day. How forget about the New Day? The New Days, you can add them to that mix too. But just think about, especially, when did, never mind, I was going to talk about even if you want to talk about the New Day's reign, I think their reign started to bled into the brand split, and they just recently lost the titles not too long ago. After they beat the record, they lost the titles, but they kept fighting the same teams, beating the same teams on Raw. Just imagine if they would have all the champions or all the tag teams on one brand, and then you had the New Day running through all those different tag teams and not the same ones to beat Demolition's record. That would have made that a lot more interesting and more well received, instead of, oh my god, New Day still champion, oh my god, we gotta watch them beat the Club again, oh my god, we gotta watch them beat Enzo and Cass again, oh my gosh, we gotta watch them beat Golden Truth again. So to end this, I'm just saying it's not going to happen anytime soon, but if they're not going to start replenishing these divisions on both brands, they just need to go ahead and bring them together on one show. Have the women on SmackDown and the tag teams on Raw, and I know they probably don't want to do that because they want to have some type of female and tag team president on both shows, but it will also make each show a little bit different, because you have to watch each show to watch certain things. If you like tag teams, so you don't really care about women's wrestling, you can watch Raw. If you like the women's wrestling, you can watch SmackDown. And when you have a 3-hour show, you don't really need that many, or 2 hour. When you have a 2-hour show, you don't really need that many belts. So you can have your WWE Championship, the United States Championship, and the Women's Championship, and that'll be enough. And on Raw, you'll have your Universal Championship, the IC title, the tag teams, and if you still want to have the Cruiserweights on there, you have the Cruiserweight title. That's 4 belts for a 3-hour show. And that way, everybody gets more time. You can see more people get developed that way instead of this way, because if they're fighting the same people, you just get bored of it. But if you have different people fighting for the same goal, like, okay, this person is rising up the ranks and they've been knocking off these people that we've already seen for a while, so they can get on the back burner and get a little rest. It makes it a lot more interesting. But if you just have Carmella beating Naomi every week and vice versa, it's like, okay, 50-50 booking to its finest. So I hope that made sense. The point is, if you have all of the brands or all of the division on one show instead of split, you'll have more interesting storylines and more room to do more stuff with all these people, instead of like recycling every week. You'll have fresh stuff to go on. Okay, we're tired of using these two teams, let's go ahead and start pushing some new teams because we have them now. Or we're tired of pushing the Four Horsewomen, let's push something new. Let's push Nia Jax coming in, destroying the Four Horsewomen, or Alexa Bliss recruiting some people to have these different type of matches. Like a Survivor Series, you could have the women's. You could have had like the Four Horsewomen plus somebody against some type of things. You could have a heel Four Horsewomen's team if you put them all on. That'd be interesting, because even though they are the Four Horsewomen, we don't really ever see them as a group. And I would love to see a Four Horsewomen group running a tag team division, and it'll make everybody look a little bit more interesting in that group, because they're all stale. Bayley stale, Sasha stale, Becky's being saved because she's on SmackDown, and same with Charlotte. But there's just so much more that can be done with all of the talent under one division, under one umbrella, instead of split into two. So that's about it for this video. The next thing I want to talk about is, after this video, I want to talk about the lack of creativity in storylines, and how what I'm saying here could help that out, especially when you got so many different storylines and storyline confusion going on. Or like, here's an example: Bray Wyatt is now feuding with Seth Rollins, and that's a rumored match for Great Balls of Fire. What the hell happened to Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt? So I thought that was going to be a storyline. So we'll talk about that next. And like I said, hopefully more videos will be coming more frequently. Start talking more wrestling and how we can start fixing these things that are irritating me in wrestling. I need to go back and watch Lucha Underground from last night, or 2 nights ago now, June 7th. It was all night long again, the rematch. And there was supposed to have been like a trios championship match and a street fight between, I think, Mil Mortez and Pentagon Dark or something like that. Either way, I need to go watch Lucha Underground because I love Lucha Underground. So everything, like always, is linked in the description down below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, along with a lot more. If you want to help donate to the channel, donate to the cause, there is a PayPal link down there. Everything down there. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you don't, leave a thumbs down. If you have any thoughts about anything that I said, or your own thoughts on the divisions and if they should be on the same brand, or do you like them split, leave that in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you're new here, and if you are, please hit that bell to be notified whenever a new video goes up on the channel. So with all that being said, I am Shawn DaGamer, and I am out of here.